So today we're gonna talk a bit about planning, and then I do have two shots. One is my previous student's shot. Probably CG Spectrum students have seen it over Slack. And then another one is from CG Spectrum's TA, and I think her name was Renata Christine. So we're gonna look at her shot too. So, well, first let me talk about planning, and then I will jump into critiquing. So then it kind of makes sense what exactly I'm talking, and then what are things so you guys can pick things out. So let's dive into this. So these all like you guys can take screenshot or whatever, but this will be on recorded online, so don't worry about it. Um, is there a way that I can do presentation? Uh, hide panel, view, full screen. Okay, perfect. I think that works. Not should I always forgot when I apply that I want as a mentor, or do you think it's better to ask first? Uh, yeah, it's better to ask first because when they assign you, they might assign you to another mentor, so it's better to do earlier than later. I mean, I'm not sure how it is done at the back end with the administration, but it's better to let them know way before. All right. Do we wait a bit more? I'll wait for another 5 minutes till people join in, and then I will dive into what is planning. And this applies to anybody from beginning to advanced, so it's very useful. And this was taught by my mentor, so I took notes, and yeah, now I'm gonna share it with you guys. You can see the stream on YouTube? Let me check. That's not good. No, I think I'm able to see it. It shows over on my side. Danny, I think maybe you might want to refresh it. Refresh. I'm watching on YouTube, Sally. Oh, thanks, Sally. Hello and welcome. Uh, Rosano, yeah, now it is okay, perfect. Cool. Awesome. Is everyone animators right here? Danny, Rizwan, Sally, Hoy. Hoy is animator. Rosano, Danny. Sally, you're an animator. Cool. What Which level are you like? Did you just started? Advanced? 3D animator, Danny. Cool. Awesome. I made a standing desk with a bunch of boxes and pillows, so I this is like trying to experiment with my setting till I find a place where I can arrange things, but not bad. Just started advanced 3D animation diploma. Cool. Awesome, Sally. So feel free to send any of your shots if you want, or like shots or reel, anything that you want me to take a look. We'll be doing reel reviews and talk a little bit about animation before I dig, like once I things are settled down on my end, then I will jump into showing you guys how to do the elephant creature animation. We'll be back at that, but it might take a bit of time. But till then, I wanted to cover up anything that we might be experiencing, like what is planning, how to select a dialogue, what kind of workflows out there, tools, and many things. Rosano. Oh, you're a three modeler, but planning is always helpful, useful. Definitely. Totally. Starting foundation for VFX in October. Jonathan. Nice. Awesome. Do you pick and choose what reels you'll be focusing on? No, I mean, I'm just like open to any kind of reels, so feel free to send it to the CG Spectrum's address or the email address. From last stream, I think I put my um, email over there, so you guys can send it there. And for the CG Spectrum students, you can Slack it to me, or you could email it to me too. Cool. All right. All right. 3D modeler, VFX. Yeah, planning I'm going to talk more from the animator perspective, but I will try to make it a little bit broader to a point that it's helpful for 3D modeling and VFX. So I will try my best. All right. So let me dig into this. What exactly is planning? The initial exploration and juggling of ideas is called planning. And what do I choose? Um, and why do I choose it is important. Choosing and committing to an idea to create your blueprint. So basically, why you're doing that shot, what is the purpose of that shot, how do you gather some references and characters. For example, in animation, we try to like get inspired from certain movies or scenes that we really like. We're like, oh, I'm gonna take that acting choice. And it's almost like when you build a building, you have a blueprint, right? So you need that initial planning because if your shot has to be strong and you want to like start blocking and start animating it, your planning has to be strong enough so that it will sustain and it'll keep, there won't be any issues in between. So initial exploration would be for animators, would be you will be digging into what kind of character you want to use. So you'll look into a bunch of rig libraries and test out your rigs. And then you'll be juggling your ideas because depending on the character, also your acting choices would be changing because if that guy is a build guy, then probably the the dialogue or the ideas that you have to do the pantomime or physical animation or something will change. So yeah, like if you see animated movies, basically the voiceover actors' facial expression or the mannerisms or the body language. We try to kind of incorporate that because there's a reason why they have delivered their dialogue in a way, right? So if you see, it's kind of funny enough that the voice actor's facial is very close to the animation that the animators end up doing. So it's very natural. And always ask yourself, why do I choose? What do I choose and why do I choose it? Because there's always a reason why, and the more you ask why, the more the solid the idea is gonna be. And choosing and committing to idea to create your blueprint. So initially, as a student, I did have some difficulties in the beginning with committing to an idea because when you're really having multiple ideas in your head, it's really hard to commit to one. So it's always good to have like a lot of ideas and choose one and commit to it. So in that way, you're more focused and going for that idea without any confusion because there's 100 possible ways to do the same idea, but what you have decided, you want to commit to it. So that's very important because you can be changing constantly and you will end up taking, if a shot is required to do for 2 weeks, then probably you would end up taking a whole month or two. So um, yeah. And planning, okay, so let me talk about, so I spoke in the animator's perspective. So for the VFX, it's the same thing too. So for VFX, try to see what are the similar kind of effects that are used in the movies, games, or film, right? So or TV, where are they using, and how can you plan in a way that you're gonna showcase that effects, but with a proper presentation. So you're not just showcasing the way you're doing the effects, but it has to go with the environment, right? So collect bunch of ideas from, I don't know, Pacific Rim or Lord of the Rings or anywhere that has a lot of high density VFX. Collect and put everything in a folder saying these are my inspiration, and then how can I incorporate to do a shot that actually matches uh, the look I'm going for. You don't want to copy it, but you want to have that initial um, that exploration idea, right? So like almost like something you want to do. And for modelers, exactly same thing too. What kind of style of modeling you want to go? Do you want to go hyper realistic? Do you want to go cartoony? So target that. So if you want to go to Disney, Pixar, any kind of like animated side of character modeling, then or creature, then you focus your style and collect bunch of ideas from your inspiration and go on to Pinterest and go to maybe Instagram, or I think Pinterest and Instagram are the good starting points where you can study a lot of like characters, right? So it's the same girl. You can see if you're trying to animate a crop top or a dress, right? So if you're gonna go for a long dress, then what era that dress falls into, right? So all that you have to ask yourself, like, where is this character from? Is this character from 21st century? Is she from 90s, 80s? It all depends. And especially when you're planning for animators, VFX, and modeling, for everybody, you need to ask what this character's personality is. Based on that, things changes a lot. For modeling, if the guy is a very cocky and very arrogant, then it shows in his facial expressions. Maybe he might be holding some props that kind of conveys that idea to people. So yeah, many things, and even in animation. So you want to know the background of the character, where this character is coming from, what is the reason why this character making those acting choices. So it's very important. And I might jump into um, answering the questions after I finish my presentation because I do want to go it in a flow. So I don't want to go cut off because if people are re-watching this, then I want everything to be in order, if that makes sense. Okay, so the next would be the planning process. An animator does not have the luxury of being intuitive or in the moment. Despite having to meticulously plan out your scenes, the animation should appear to be in the moment. Being an animator is making choices and committing. Do, don't don't be wishy-washy in your decision making because it will show in your work. That is very, very accurate. If someone asks you about a particular choice you made, you should always have an answer. It, and one other thing is you don't want the the audience to ask you what exactly is happening. That's when you're already failed as an animator, I guess. I am pretty hard on myself in that sense when it comes to painting, when it comes to animation. Like for painting, they say you don't want to go all the way down to the right corner to see what is the artist's name, because if you can, an artist's style itself is a signature for the art, right? So if they're saying, oh, your art looks like Rembrandt's, then I'm failed as an artist because I didn't make my mark, right? And it's the same thing when an animator does a shot and people really don't get what's happening, then that's where you're like, your acting choices, what you made, isn't conveying the idea, isn't clear. So you always have to have an answer why you're making that choice. And you should always have an answer. Um, and being an animator is making choices and committing. Don't be wishy-washy with your decision making too. So yeah, you don't have to make it all wishy-washy. Like just keep it clear to the point and commit to the idea and make it as clear as possible that you don't people wouldn't be asking you hundreds of questions what is happening. And so the content and context for the planning would be what does the shot require, why are we in the story, what needs to be communicated to the audience, how much time do you have. So these are very, very important things, especially what does the shot require? If you're an animator, it- does the shot require a prop? Does the shot require an environment? Does the shot require something that the character will be interacting with? And if you're a VFX, exactly again, to showcase your effects, you need to know what the shot requires so that you're planning all this way before, so you're not overwhelmed in the end to find things. So, yeah. And where are we in the story? So, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. So, and what needs to be communicated to the audience, and how much time do you have? The time is very important. So, based on like, I have 2 months to work on this. It's a solo project. I can take my own time, then make it as complex as possible. Or if you're like, I'm running short of time and I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'm gonna make this as informative and as clear as possible. So I'm just going to animate something that showcases all my animation skills. So that is enough too. And short briefing information, storyboards, actor footages, relatable circumstances slash people. So again, this pretty much I covered up when I was talking about the initial exploration stage. Is if you're not good at storyboards, even like uh, collecting like images or footages would work, and then actor footages like bunch of things are on YouTube, and then relatable circumstances. So this example I would give you one is for animators. So there's a one guy animating an old man that is tensed, and he kind of related when he was animating to his grandpa. Whenever he's tensed, he always tries to um, shake his leg on, almost like tapping his foot, so that what happens is like he's like, I'm kind of like very nervous and I don't know what's gonna happen or a lot of things. So that we know that we naturally do it, or our parents or grandparents, someone in our circle, they must be doing it. But when we animate, we kind of forget all that and we just make the character animate than actually breathing life into it. So the way to make it more natural is to kind of relate to your natural circumstances or the people around you, what they do when they get nervous. Some people try to bite their fingernails, and some people try to twirl with their like hair, or they kind of play with their necklace, um, or I guess they kind of keep picking their nail or something. There are tons of things. Like observation is very, very, very important as an animator. So if you see someone doing that, then like if your character is meant to do that, then bring it on and incorporate that into your shot. And ways to find ideas to plan: thumbnails, video references, video inspiration, picture references, animation versus life, which is, I think, self-explanatory. Things to consider when planning a shot. What's the purpose of the shot? Where can I provide a resting point for the audience? Can I show thought process? There's always time to rest or think. And this is very important because, as I said multiple times, that you don't want the things to keep going so fast that there's no breathing space between for the audience to be like, oh, I get what's happening. If they're like constantly things are moving on screen, then in a blink, probably they could be missing something, or they feel too overwhelmed that things just feels like all over the place. So it's important to give the resting space for the audience to digest what they just saw, and then they're anticipating what the end result's gonna be. So it's very, very important. If you can show a character act before an action, it helps sell the point for sure. So if the character needs to walk into the scene, if the character is sitting and trying to do something like cutting vegetables, or like before that big action, if you can show that character is already like doing something to reach to that point, that would like right away sell your idea and makes it way more believable. And then status of the character: is this an officer, or he's a farmer, or he is um, I don't know, student or something, right? The status changes. When the status changes, then the way you are structuring your shot would change too. So if he's a big guy, always he looks down at people, so your camera angles can be way more kind of projecting that the camera is looking up to the character to make him look more bigger. And if the character is a low status, then you're constantly like looking down on them. So that definitely differs. And then the character's history, which is very important. And all my shots, when I animate, I try to think about what did this character go through before reaching to this point from where I'm going to animate, right? So I need to know where the character is coming from, what the character's personality is, what the character has gone through, so that this specific dialogue that I'll be animating would reflect a lot more. So these are very important. And things to remember: research, think, and thumbnail. Try not to make obvious choices unless you're out of time or it is clear as read. And like I think one example for this would be making obvious choices is when someone say, "Oh, she's shy and um, she's shy, right? So if you say shy, a girl would, they just try to like put the hair behind the ear. That's such an obvious and like out there choice that every animator, but you can be shy in different ways, right? So that's when, as an animator, you're exploring the acting choices and going beyond like a normal people that think. So it gives you that creativity wavelength. So and be an observer. That's where, if you be an observer, then you would make that choice not so obvious, but you will do something else that makes it still look shy. I think that's it. That's pretty much. And all right, let me see if I can find some questions. Oh, what do you mean by think and thumbnail is your ideas. You think about a thumbnail and then you like put it put it on paper pretty much. And if there is um, one other thing, I think I was doing this for one of my two-person dialogue is how my thumbnail is gonna look like in the end too defines what the shot creating that mood for my shot, right? So if two people are conversating and if I have that girl, I think I can pull that somewhere. And if the two people are like talking and this girl is like into the sky and she's looking very shy, from that thumbnail, you already know that there is some kind of tension going on between these two guys. This girl totally likes him or something, right? So you do want to click that to watch. So um, yeah, in the planning stage, you do want to know that that one hero thumbnail shot it defines your entire shot too. So, and put your ideas on paper or put your ideas by collecting things, if that makes sense. Does CG Spectrum Library have? Not sure. Maybe I think you gotta check that out. We don't have every rig, but if you really want something, you can totally ask them. They will um, make it arrangeable for you. Okay, so open to questions. Feel free to ask any questions before. We'll take a break after a couple of questions, and then we will jump into critique around, I would say around in like about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, we will start critique. How can you tell if an animation is too wishy-washy? Well, the good example would be like anything that's, I don't know, like, um, something isn't clear, but then you're trying to like make her go this. I'm trying to search for an example. I think if two people are fighting, right? So trying to make that idea rather than having a content animation to a point where you're showing the emotion, but you're trying to like throw things and then I don't know, like just like making that idea look even doing a lot of action wouldn't convey that they both are angry, right? You're trying to say that she's taking her whatever luggage and then she's like moving out and then all that is like too obvious and it's kind of wishy-washy to a point where you know what's going on, but that's like that isn't conveying exactly the emotion of the shot, right? So if you have to see the action versus emotion in any acting shots, always emotion comes first because what exactly that the shot conveying the emotion plays a lot more. So when you think about the emotion, when someone is really angry, unless they're going really crazy, they wouldn't be moving and doing a lot of things, but they will be content in their self to a point where you have to convey that. So yeah, I don't know if that was a good example, but when you're looking for a reference, is there anything specific you're looking for, or is it specific for the project? I mean, if it's your personal shot, then you're looking something specific for what your shot needs. And then if it's for a project, then yes, you need to make sure that you're looking specifically for the project. Um, the best example, specific for my shot. So when I was doing a two-person dialogue that this girl is into the guy and she's being all shy and asking, like trying to like flirt with him. So basically, I have seen couple of YouTube videos where, these YouTubers go to random strangers on the street and uh, they ask some questions, right? Like I think it was really popular where this guy randomly goes and picks up girls and asks them questions like it's a prank, but how the girls react or the way the body language, and they'll be like shocked, but some girls are into it, but then how do they react? Or if the vice versa too, if a girl goes and picks up a guy, right? So I've done a bit of study like how people react to things. So I collected those so then I can incorporate some of those acting choices into my shot. So that's pretty much it. And then for my military shot where the guy is just standing and talking, for that shot, I was looking at a lot of interviews of these commanders that when they talk about a specific war or a chat like a mission or what they have to, they kind of go into that memory of like what happened, right? So that definitely helped me to animate that shot. So yeah, definitely it is very specific too, and you cannot make it broader or kind of vague. So you always need to have it a clear and specific to that project or to your idea. That was very helpful. Thank you. No worries. Leaf. Yeah, it's a bit of planning is always like the initial thing, right? Even at the Pixar internship, I was, or we all were, um, judged, or not even judged, but like to see whether you're a good animator or not based on your ideas and acting choices because they already know that you're an animator, good animator. It's easy to train to be an animator that can move things, but it's very hard to train an animator to think. So, which means your ideas are yours. And the reason why a company picks you is for those ideas because I've seen a couple of animators coming from 2D background into Pixar internship, and they give you like a month training how to use the software, how to use 3D tools, and all that. But if you can convey the idea, whether with stop motion, 2D, or 3D, your ideas are why they pick you. So, how do you get good ideas? Do a lot of observation and research, and then good planning. So that's pretty. It has to be solid. Any other questions? I think it's kind of self-explanatory, right? Like, and yeah, VFX and 3D modelers. Do you have any questions related to your side? Because I do have a bunch of VFX artists, and um, I've seen how they have planned their shots. Sometimes it's like mind-blowing. Oh my God, it looks almost like it's a shot from a movie or something, right? So, and I do remember one of my colleague, when he was trying to apply for Ubisoft, and he's a previous artist, and he was trying to look at a lot of Ubisoft cinematics to a point where he did very similar kind of look, but with his own take on it. So, yeah, so that's for the previous side. Jonathan, so once you get the basics down, it's more about studying the little thing that makes the scene or character more believable. Exactly. So the little things how you do is by observation, right? So the basics are down, like, do you know how to move this character? Yes. But what do you want this character to do is the big question, right? That's when um, the subtle acting choices, how to make it more believable. So you don't want to make look like the character is animated, but you want the character to be more believable, right? I'm wondering about an idea I have for a demo reel about Ghost, but I'm still not so sure what to do with it, unfortunately. Don't worry, first let's get to the basics, and then once you're into the class, we can explore that idea for the Ghost. Cool. Any other questions, guys? I have another 3 minutes. 3 minutes before I take a 5 to 10 minute, or probably even not five, just 2 minute break so I get some water. And then we will jump into looking at two animated shots. One is creature animation and one is acting shot. So probably since whatever we spoke right now might apply to that, and then you guys can like right away see what's going on, what things can be improved, what are things working, and everything. I have a lot of ideas that I wanted to try out during my time at CG Spectrum. That's why the questions about this rig. Okay, I can take a look at it, but once you get in there, you have a rig library that you can go and see how many rigs are there, and are these rigs that are good for you, or you want other rigs or stuff. You can always ask them. Was this planning thing clear, or do you guys have any other questions that I can add to this document? Or like anything that you guys are facing challenges whenever you plan out a shot from the animation perspective or the VFX or 3D modeling. Just let me know so I can answer it right now. Seems like none. I think there's was plenty of info here. Oh, thanks, Leafy, I think. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope so. I hope that people can take something from this. Awesome. So give me 5 minutes. It'll be even less, probably 3 to 5, let's say. And I'll keep the stream running I'll be right back. We'll go drink some water, be talking a lot. So I'll be back and then we'll jump into critique. And then probably from there, you guys can learn even more. All right? See you guys in a bit. is Christine's shot, and she's a TA at CG Spectrum. And she said this is the final creature assignment. So she said, I've been polishing stage for past 2 weeks. The story from this fight is that the bear would win over the raptor by biting up upon the raptor's body, then suffocating it by pushing down the bear's massive weight onto the raptor's body. Okay, so that's nice that she has given us some information. So let's dig into it. Okay. Well, so right off the bat, the first thing that I'm looking at is the character's head is is kind of chopped off and it's only showing a peek of it. We really don't, and again in this planning stage, we really don't need to show the character, the second character. The minute this character is in the shot, it's kind of like abruptly happening and then the T-Rex is coming, right? But what if the character is not seen and then you have the bear actually do something, right? Like as we said in the planning, you want the character before that big move, you want the character to be something. So now right here, we want the bear to either like kind of sniffing or picking at something. So he's doing his own thing. So we want to establish that that the initial shot. So the audience are preparing. Okay, I see a bear, and the bear is doing something, and then out of the blue, the T-Rex will jump into the scene because you want the, how do you say, it's almost like a jump scare that you're giving to the audience. If the T-Rex is coming from here, let's say, right? If he's coming from here, then audience are seeing it already, and then he's coming towards the bear to like kind of pounce on him from behind. So we're kind of establishing that. But right now, having his just a head wouldn't make that much sense for this shot because it's pretty much it's not even like a half of the head. It's like a tiny bit of that head that is peeking. It's rather not to have a head at all and then have him jump into the shot because you want the bear to be scared, right? The same thing what you want the audience to feel. So what you want the bear to feel is what you want the audience to feel the same thing. So which means you want the T-Rex to jump into the scene. And one other thing is you're playing a lot of asymmetry where you're having both the arms almost like this is the obvious choice that from the planning that we spoke is if your hands say I'm scared, this is an obvious choice. There are tons of ways that you can be scared. If you check out YouTube videos, some people will be like this, like all over the place, like, oh, what the hell? What did you just do, right? So like that means this one is very, very obvious and like I don't know, like probably you're not thinking beyond and you're not observing properly that where things are, right? So in the same way, m- look at probably a T-Rex animation like Jurassic Park or anywhere that they have the T-Rex, have them in a way that they're not doing the same thing, but like a little bit off from the both the arms. So you don't want to have asymmetrical arms. And then two, um, if I check your weight of the character, it seems like he's leaning forward to where that he can tip. So like have the weight on still in the hips and having the character kind of somewhere here. So when he's pouncing, that's when you will have him lean forward. But for now, we want that S shape because the whole weight is falling here. So pay attention to that one. And I just felt like I scribbled all over the shot. How do you erase this? There you go. Okay. And the anticipation of the bear is missing as well. It feels like the bear's feet are very sticky to a point where they don't even move, and just the T-Rex is coming and pushing him pretty much. So, but I like this pose. You're showing the pain of the bear, like the T-Rex pouncing and attacking. I like that. Cool. So I like that you have like a couple of camera poses. I think two cut, a single cut, I guess. Yeah, one cut. And then you have the now in the second cut is where the bear pounces on him, attacks him. So I'm gonna give more broader. Like I don't want to be too nitpicky, but right off the bat, again here, having the bear at least like move a little before that initial pounce is good. You want to put in there, and I really like these poses. What's happening right here, and play around with the posing for the T-Rex. This seems very much broken, and once you he's almost like the like almost like a light lizard that if you have seen a lot of Jurassic Park, this guy is a pretty lightweight to a point where you can like Bear is very heavy, right? He can toss him out. Like because right now you have both the characters very much in on the ground. You can use this shot to a point where you're asking this you can make this changes where you can have the T-Rex pounce on him, like jump onto his back or something, and then the bear kind of throws him off from his body. So right now, end of the first shot, you're pretty much showing the bear's back. So when we talk about the projection, you don't want to see too much of back of the actor. So basically, the bear and the T-Rex are the the actors, and you don't want to see too much of the back. So probably you can end the turn somewhere here, or like even like right here, you can end it. So you can have the bear right here, cut the shot, and then you can go to this one. But the way the cut should work is basically you want the same pose, but in almost like a anticipation attack. So this seems like it almost jumped. So you may want to go and stitch in a little bit more, if that makes sense. And two, if you look at the silhouette of the T-Rex, and then if you look at the bear, um, you're kind of covering the bear's face completely. So we want the T-Rex, and we want a bear to be. So you want at least the bear's face a tiny bit to be showing. So look at the silhouette. So posing is very important. Again, very asymmetrical, and see like what shows. So again, this is the status that I was talking about in the planning, right? So in the beginning here, we established that the T-Rex trying to take the higher status by attacking. But then we know from the beginning that this big guy is way stronger than him. So which is what you're trying to establish here, right? So once you establish that y- these both are pretty in the same level to a point where the status is same. We are not establishing to the audience that the bear's character is way more powerful. So when the bear starts standing up, then you want the T-Rex to kind of defend himself or do another acting choice where like right here, right? He's already down, and then probably you can have him down to a point where he tosses him or something so that he bear is getting back his status to be the powerful animal. And right here he looks very much like a puppy to a point where he's so cute and he doesn't look ferocious. So you may want to incorporate this arm to be as the attacking. Like if you see the T-Rex head kind of struggling to stay alive, which means you can use this arm to like suppress the hand. I mean, you're doing basically a very brutal shot for the creature. Might as well go all in, right? It's kind of hard to animate anything that has too much of violence, but I think if you're gonna go all in, then use this arm to like kind of push his head, and then you can have that as a weight or something, or you can have this arm push his back so that he doesn't move, and then kind of twist his neck. It just this whole thing seems very very aggressive, but um this overall, if you see the bear, it looks very cute and he doesn't look very high status. So you want to maybe tilt the head to a point where you're pounce like attacking him from the side and biting a piece off the T-Rex, because I just feel like he just like tickling him at this point. So again, the idea isn't clear, and Bear's face looks very smiley, which just seems like he just tickled the T-Rex. So we want to be way more clear in this idea. But overall, like I really like the way you try to incorporate two different creatures, and animating two different creatures is, trust me, it's way hard. So what you have done so far is amazing, but we want to sell the idea. So Christine, if you happen to check on this stream later on, I know that Christine's timing, she's on the other end. I don't know which part of the world, but it's pretty much midnight for her. So anyways, if you're gonna rewatch this, look at the planning, half of the stream that I talk about the planning, and think if the idea that you're trying to convince is clear or not. And then just put in these notes that I just mentioned right now. Just think about it. And if it is easy enough, I know that you said you're in the polish stage, but if you can make those changes, I think it will look amazing. Right now, your shot is like good, but we want to make it amazing, right? So, so we'll see how we can. And then again, your last, so the beginning shot, you need to showcase what the bear is doing, establish shot, and the ending shot should be very powerful that you need to end it like he got back his status. And then you might want to choose something in between as your thumbnail shot, which means like you're pretty much telling the audience that this is going to be an epic shot that two creatures fighting with each other. Yeah, once we have that, then more detail like where the silhouette of the thing, how the characters have to be posed, and all that will be more clear. And yeah, just let me know if you have more questions. She's part of CG Spectrum, so it's way more easy for me to get back to Christine regarding this. So I hope that was helpful. Christine, and let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, these notes are nothing to put you down. It's more so that because since I spoke about the planning, it applies a lot more clear right now when you see a shot. So based on that, I just said, but just animating two creatures is a big work, and you have chosen that. So kudos to you. And two, you have taken this shot from zero to this, right? So that's amazing. So at this point, it's more so, am I conveying the shot? Am I trying doing the justice to the status of the character? All this you put in your um, mind before you're animating. So in that way, your shot will like you don't have to struggle in polishing the shot because you can take polish forever, but if the blocking is solid enough, then everything will fall under place, right? I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and we can talk about that. And feel free to show to your other friends as well on CG Spectrum so that you get a fresh eye and people have different perspectives. But what exactly you want to do with your shot is ultimately important than taking bunch of um, critique from a bunch of people or as I said, each shot can be done in 100 different ways. But what you want to do, you want to commit to that, right? So in that sense, I gave you more in the acting choices. So I'm not changing your shot too much. It's more so that you want to establish the shot way more clear. All right. I hope that was clear. And let's jump on to next shot. Thanks for sharing, Christine. That I really appreciate that you put yourself out there. And again, to be honest, she did really great job in just like animating the camera, animating the two creatures. So I'm proud of you. All right. This is one of my previous students, and he posted this on on the Slack. I'm not sure even if he knows that I'm critiquing this. But I felt like this was one interesting shot that I wanted to pick in and bit talk about it in the acting sense because now we have covered the creature and now we're gonna cover the character animation. More so my kind of style where like it's more about acting, right? So before that, let me see if any questions. Looks awesome. There's one thing I'm excited to learn. Awesome. Yeah, the shot looks amazing. We want to push that. She's getting there. And Should we also add sound? If you want to add sound, Hoy, feel free to, because that's it's all about the presentation, right? Definitely you can add the sound. But if there is no sound, that's totally fine too, because either way, the recruiters are just gonna go put it to mute. So, yeah. I mean, it's up to you, but I would say adding a sound is good because if you want to make that shot bit epic, especially it's being a creature, it helps. It kind of lifts the shot, but it's not necessary. All right. Um, what do we got here? I think I might have to pause music.
Shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing.
Okay.
Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing.
Simon.
Madness
So
has
this
brought
is
you here to me. I shall be your
Simon's shot, and he finished diploma course, I guess, and then he's working on these personal shots. So this is his dialogue. And first, right off the bat, the angle somehow looks like the character is being squished to almost a paper. It's like it almost looks like on a plane the character is projected until the character's turn. Now you see, oh, this is a 3D character. Either I'm feeling it's coming from the 2D textures or this plane in the background. It's not giving that 3D thing. Something's happening, like this plane being very 2D panel. This whole thing looks squished. So pay attention to that, Simon. And then two, from the planning again, the status. This guy is a big guy. And if you listen to the dialogue,
madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing.
madness has brought you to me, and
Shall be your undoing.
I shall be your undoing, which means he's
Has
like,
brought here to me.
him doing this, his status saying that he is pretty strong, and madness has brought you to me,
I
and I
shall be
shall
your
I shall be your undoing. So madness brought you to me is almost saying that you made the dumb decision to come to me, which basically him doing this action, which shows that he is scary and very powerful. And
I shall be your undoing.
I shall be
I
your
shall brought you to
undoing.
me. I shall be
Right here, him doing this gesture, saying that I'm at your service, completely took his character, the status down. So you can use, I know you did this for the sarcastic way, where you're trying to say that I shall be at your service, but actually, you know what? like he's like trying to be kind of sarcastic, but then the voice, if you don't look at this, but if you just listen to the audio, it doesn't seem like sarcastic because there is no tone like how I just did. Like we're saying, I'm at your service. Like if it's like kind of emphasis in the end, that means you're kind of threatening them a bit more in a sarcastic way. So you might want to tone that I'm at your service kind of thing. So again, a dialogue always has a subtext, and you keep thinking about what exactly the character trying to convey. So I'll be your undoing. So this and this action and here is threatening. So you want to find so this action you might want to rethink about it. I'm not sure. Like, I think it's not selling. I just felt like high status, low status. So you want to keep high for everything, but you do want to convey that sarcasticness. So I will leave up to you how you want to do it. And then two, definitely change the angle or have this box to be 3D. Um, and then pause it almost here, the turn, because you're having pretty frontal view to a point where it's not interesting. Because if you're gonna be so sideways, like too frontal, it's not interesting at all. So either you want to like break the head a little bit more, um, and then have one hand. How do I? How do I? You can have like one arm, and maybe this arm can be here, like like this, like kind of leaning to one side and c- look at like the ways these gangsters or the monsters threaten. This feels very symmetrical, so you want to break that. And this already shows that he's powerful, right? You wanna do the same thing here. So that would be my overall notes.
Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing. Madness has brought you here to me. I shall be your undoing.
Yeah, and then when he says undoing, I see this whole section moving. If you just look at the legs, they just feel like they're tied up, like to a point where it's just straight outside. So you may want to play with the knee and then something where like he's using his leg and then like the arm either on his, so like have his knee come up. And then, yeah, I think you have to play with the posing to a point where you're either slamming the hand onto the armrest or onto your thigh to a point where you're even projecting forward to the character. So, one, change the frontal, have at least a 3/4. And two, posing is very important to your end, how you're projecting the character. If that makes sense. But good work, Simon. I think there's a lot of things that you've been doing, so uh, that's a huge, huge improvement from the last time I've seen you in the class. So good work. All right. I think that wraps up the critique. Let me know if you guys if you guys have any other questions. Hey Noah, how's it going? Welcome. Yeah, so we have two critique, and you guys can ask me any questions. I will answer it. Noah, are you just joining right now, or were you here from the beginning? Oh, it feels too quiet. I'm gonna play some music. All right, feel free to ask me any questions, guys. I mean, these two are pretty amazing shots. And just putting your shot out there to get critique is a very big deal. So I'm glad people are more open to show, get more notes. We have seen two amazing shots from Gabriella from last week. And today we have Simon's and Christine's shots. All right. I think it's better if the character slaps on the leaning of the chair. Hmm. I mean, he's doing it right here. So maybe he can keep this and have this elbow kind of rest. So this is his arm. So like almost like this. I don't know, like you have to play around with the posing so that he's kind of leaning to one side more interestingly than like front on. And this one too, like the neck seems too extended to a point where it's kind of broken. So I know this character's neck is like all over the place. You do want to always show a little bit of that neck. That makes sense. We pretty much covered good stuff, guys. Today we talk about planning, which is definitely the important one. The first half of the stream, and then the second half is the critique. So, yeah, cool. If I'm gonna end the stream in another 5 to 10 minutes, so feel free to ask me any questions and let me know your feedback if you have liked this. Do you guys want me to talk about something else for the next week? So we talked about planning. What do you guys want for the next week? Do you guys want blocking? I can prepare something for blocking. Blocking sounds cool. All right. We'll do that then. So we can talk a bit about blocking. I've always been curious about that. No worries, Leafy. We'll talk about that. Now let me see. I think I made few notes like what I want to talk. I was doing this way in the past, like in the beginning streams, and then later I moved on to like just animating so that you guys can learn more from here. But I think I can do this again. About demo reel, Spectra, I see a lot of people using walk and run cycles. Is that something to include in a demo reel or is it too basics? It is too basic unless you're applying for gameplay, then you want to do a lot of cycles with the different characters. And the cycles you don't want to be a vanilla walk, you want to be a character walking, right? So you want the character, if it's an old man or if it's like a monster that is injured one arm and how he'll be walking. Like, what is that? Hunchback, or something, or if it's like a happy girl, how does she walk? A little girl. And yeah, different types of runs, different types of walks with the prop is good, but if you're gonna put a basic, then it's gonna be basic. I said, how to plan a shot. So we talk about planning, how to stand out with your demo reel. Maybe I think I can talk a bit about this and then blocking. How to stand out with your demo reel. Something of this, I prepared like bunch of topics, so we can do that. How to stand out with your demo reel and how to block a shot. Sounds good. So it's not such a good idea to include it in the film animation demo reel. No. Uh, I mean, if you're gonna have the character walk in the scene already, which means you're good at walk cycle. You don't need to have a walk cycle just separate to show that you're good at walk cycle, right? Because nobody have time to look at normal walk cycles. So if the character is doing something in a film reel, film animation demo reel, then you're actually making the character move. So you're basically doing that there. Any other questions, guys? Well, if nothing, then I'm going to end it soon. But I hope everybody is enjoying the summer. And if you're in other parts of country where it is winter, which is in Australia, then enjoy and stay safe. I feel like Australia is still under lockdown. Not sure with the other countries. Here it is a bit better, but we might go into under lockdown in the winter. Who knows? No, it does also mean no dragonflight cycle. No. No, at least like the students that I'm trying to train, I don't want any basic stuff. I want to include that in the part of, for example, if you've seen the Christine shot, if you want the dragon to come in, you can have the flight into the scene and then pounce onto the bear, right? So, which means you're already doing there, so you don't need a cycle, basically. But if you're going to do a gameplay where if you're joining a game animation and a lot of cycles needed, then you want entire reel to have different types of cycles. But if you're going into a film character animation, no, no flight cycle. I will talk a bit more about this. Since you're asking a lot of questions about this, that would cover up into how to stand out with your demo reel. So maybe I'll try to do research and see good, bad demo reels. Have to be very careful in selecting the bad ones, but it's not it's bad, it's more so like what not to do, what to do. So we'll talk about that. All right, guys. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you for everyone that showed up and asking questions. And feel free to join. Hold up. Next Wednesday we don't have stream. We are having I'm on vacation, so which means I'm pushing the Wednesday stream to Friday just for next week. So which is August 27th will be the stream. So we don't have 25th. So August 27th, it's at 3 p.m. PDT, Pacific Time Zone. So let me see. Next week, live stream is on Friday, August 27th at 3 p.m. Okay, there you go. Yeah, because I wouldn't be in the city, so I won't be able to do this, but then we'll be back on schedule the following week, and I'm thinking to change the timing, so I will keep this an open thing till the end of September to see like how many people wanted like what different timings affects people. So in that way we can select something more reasonable and something that I can focus more on the work hours and then do the stream in the end. Right now the work is a bit slow. That's why I'm able to squeeze in this time in the daytime. But and since changed the time zones too, things will have to move around. So, but anyways, we'll only think about what's next week. That is August 27th at 3 p.m. Pacific time zone. So you guys can calculate that into whichever time zone you guys are on. But so see you guys on Friday. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, and take care.